From your lips
They're
to
mad they got
God's
called
ears.
out by the Writers Guild.
It's Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend DG Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Hot Stash Rick, aka Captain Liam Shaw of the Starship Titan, and you are listening to Capes and Lunatics.
That's right. Now I can name drop the same names Rob Southgate drops. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Capes and Lunatics. Talking all about Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. Speaking of a band of misfits, I am Phil. Joining me, as always, the space pirate from New Jersey himself. It is
Charlie, the Professor Esser. Did you know he also played Dr. Draken in the Kim Possible film?
I did know that.
He played a lot of
He's
people.
got a long
He is-
filmography, my friend.
Honestly, one of the greats of American cinema.
And she's not a killer, but just plays one on TV. It is.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification for the FBI and NSA, Phil. It is Little Hellfire. Ahoy, me mateys.
Satire
Arr.
parody.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I wanted to start properly because, yes, we did have technical difficulties before. But let me tell you kids a little story before we get to this movie review. About, what was that, 6 years ago, a certain a-hole himself banded his podcasting friends together and said, let's stop doing stuff here, and let's throw all of our stuff on one thing. And we'll call it, I don't know, Capes and Lunatics. And after in episode 0, where we introduced ourselves, episode 1, do either of you know what what we did for episode 1?
Bro, I
No.
smoke weed and I drink. No, I don't.
We did a review of a certain movie called Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh,
Yep.
Some would say that's a super connected moment.
that would be. You know, that was actually one of the weirdest things, man. As I'm going through my memories on Facebook, I was like, oh yeah, and now we're off to see Guardians of the Galaxy. And now we're off to see the Avengers. And now we're off to see Captain America. Like, this is obviously, for some reason, this seems to be a popular date for movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, but yeah, this was a nice little a bumper for it, that it ends as it begins. Guardians 1 to Guardians 3, and the trilogy comes to an end. Or does it?
Well, we know that Gamora and freaking well, we know Zoe and Dave won't be back. So I mean, you know, I don't know if they tried to put together another Guardians
I see
outside of the original. Would it work?
I see rumors of more and more of them saying, I might go over to DC. Yeah, Dave.
No, nobody's going to DC.
No?
Well,
Let's all
okay.
be perfectly clear. Nobody's going. Maybe Dave for James's thing, but
Look,
nobody's going over that trash pile.
let's be honest. Let's be honest here. I wish James Gunn 1,000% success. I think he can make every right move in the next 2 years and still wind up on Warner's bad list. Not because he did anything wrong or his movies didn't make $1 million, but just because of the corporate problems that exist.
Yep.
Oh,
I Godspeed to him. I said, you know, like he's trying to get a Superman movie. You know, he's trying to get a Batman movie with the wrong Robin. But that's none of my business. I wish him all the best because it is going to be an uphill battle. And like I said, he clearly doesn't hold any animosity towards Marvel. Has plans on coming back clearly because he could have just phoned it in, but he really did kind of put his all into this movie.
Well, he's an artist and he cares. He cares what his name gets put on. You know, and this is the beauty of this entire. It's sort of a positive toxic relationship that while he was on hiatus, so was his film. Marvel, and maybe this is the power of the Feige, said, "Look, if you're going to put my guy on ice for a bit till you figure out what you want to do, that's fine. His work is going to sit on ice until he can come back." And he got to come back, and he was not happy with everything that was done in his absence, but he rolled with it. He built on it as a true artist does, as a true creative does in a rolling story, and he made what I think is a very good film, maybe even a better film than he would have made had there been no interruption.
I
Had
definitely
he,
think that. I think he feels like he had something to prove. Like, well, I'm not. Everybody's just expecting me to phone it in. Well, I'm not gonna phone it in. I'm not gonna burn
yeah,
this bridge. I'm not gonna burn it to the ground. But I was a little nervous. Like, and it's the whole reason why I was like, I was gonna read Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but it is, as I learned when I was going to pull up the issues, is written by a certain Brian Michael Bendis. So I was like, ooh, I hope they're not pulling from that in any way, shape, or form. So, can anybody confirm if they pulled anything from Volume 3 of Guardians of the Galaxy comics into the movie?
Nah, I mean, I could confirm. No, no.
Okay, cool.
If it
So
was the
as I
best,
told,
yeah,
as
no.
I told you earlier, Lilith, I haven't read a comic in 3 months, so I have
okay,
no
good.
idea
I mean,
what
this was
Lilith.
several years. This was several years ago. I mean, the whole Bendis run. I mean, I think he actually had maybe 2 volumes because I know at first he had like Iron Man on the team. But then
Oh, that one
He's
with the
got a
Kitty
fetish
Pride
for
and
Iron
stuff.
Man between
well,
his
well,
series.
that and then I think was that his run later on? They had like Kitty Pride in there too. So
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
another
I'd have loved to
fetish.
have seen the Starjammers in here. That would have been fun. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. As an old school X Men fan, love Starjammers. But I love that it's from Rocket's point of view, right?
yeah, it's his
That's so
origin
great.
story. Yeah.
And the High Evolutionary is mad at a little poor little trash panda. You know, like that's the High Evolutionary. Absolutely ridiculous.
well, that's what makes them a villain. Is they're petty. If they weren't petty, they wouldn't be villains.
Yeah, but did they make him
Doom
just like?
did nothing wrong.
Did they just make him some kind of alien? I wanted him to be from Earth, so I was waiting for one of them to make fun of him, like Star Lord. Be oh, Herbert. Okay, Herbert. Let's.
I think that was too much of a lift, especially when you have to go back and do the whole thing with Arnim Zola and the mysterious person who gives him the codex.
Mm.
There's a lot. There's a lot to the Herbert Wyndham story. At a certain point, you just want to abbreviate. They can go back and do it if they want to,
Because they got
but
room for
right,
villains now. Word on the curb
yeah.
is.
And to be fair, if we can do a spoiler,
Oh, we're gonna do
I
many
didn't see
spoilers.
no body. I
No
saw a
body,
lot
no
of,
case, as my lawyer likes to say. I mean,
he had the upgrades, and my good friend Bruce Banner uh, killed the High Evolutionary once too, and even that didn't kill him. So
I just want to say that Counter Earth, if you take experimenting animals off the table and it was just a world full of anthropomorphic animals, kind of like BoJack Horseman, I'm just saying probably better than regular Earth. That's all I'm saying. He had the right idea. He was just going about it the wrong way. I'm just gonna go on
well,
record and say that.
well, no, I mean the whole point is that he had a perfect world there with all of his lovely anthropomorphic animals doing drugs and whatnot. Cause it's gonna,
Phil,
and that's
everybody loves
free
what?
will.
What?
That's free
Everybody
will.
loves
That's
what?
the thing. So, okay, do you guys ever watch Miracle Workers?
I watched the first season before they went to all
Okay,
medieval
well,
in
the
that
first
second
season
one.
is the best one. I mean, the second one and the third one are also good, but the first, and this is where it gets that spiritual question. When God has to go to his parents' house and explain why he made Earth and he decided to give people free will. Because
Oh, I
in
thought you
this,
were gonna go to the good place route. I thought you were gonna go there, Charlie. But this is a good
no,
analogy
no, no.
too.
The good place, the problem with the good place is it's too cosmic. The thing with Miracle Workers is it really puts it into this simple experimental supervillain mindset of why would you give characters free will that is going to cause pain. I was even having this conversation with Tristan today where we were talking about the Garden of Eden and all that yada stuff. I don't know what that kid watches on YouTube, but
He fell down a rabbit hole.
yeah, as you do, and he's young and he's learning, and that's important. But the idea is that once you give a person free will, you lose the paradise. But that's okay because free will is the point. Free will is the moment when you say, I'm going to make that dumb decision. And you know what? It'll be my dumb decision, not anybody else's decision made for me. And that's an important moment. And that is the thing in this film that Herbert Winton wants to get out of Rocket, but it's the one thing he will not allow in his creations.
Yep.
That soul, that creation, that free will, that ability to say, oh, X plus Y equals Z, he doesn't want that from his creations. He wants them to do rote, but also to do the approved improvements upon he wants to be God, and people who want to be God are never qualified for the job. And that's the moral of the story.
I am God.
Yeah.
I just thought it was clever that Star-Lord called him Skeletor, and then by the end of the movie, he did look like Skeletor.
That is a good point.
Chekhov's gun.
Well, because, I mean, not
So
for nothing.
where Hasbro's like, hey, watch it. I know we make the Marvel Legend figures, but watch it.
It is a fair use parody example. And they will, trust me, they have lawyers at the ready at all times. And they were like,
I know.
You know what? Stand down, stand down. This does fall under fair use. Because even their lawyers was like, it's fair use. They didn't cross any real lines on it, aside from dressing him in purple, but he already wore purple. So
Cheep, cheep.
you could argue that it was a much purpler purple than the puce that the real High Evolutionary wears. But in the moment, let's allow it.
2023, the year the MCU's villains wore purple.
I mean, traditionally, that is the villain color, purple and green.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that was actually that was a big miss. That was a big miss in the Spider-Mans that they didn't put purple on the green of the Green Goblin. They heard the green, but they didn't know that the green goes with the purple.
I mean, I guess they want to do that face reveal at the end, but I was so upset they didn't put him in the helmet.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Can't have it all.
But they also wanted the RoboCop gag, and that works better with the pulled flat face, which also, in its own structure, feeds into the idea of someone trying to hide imperfection, and that that sort of if you ever I don't know if you've ever watched Doctor Who, but there was a character, I think she's dead now, but basically she is the last true human alive, and she's just a face stretched.
Moisturize me.
Yes, exactly. And this is
the greatest Doctor Who meme of all time. Yes.
Oh yeah, trust me, I love my Who is some of the best sci-fi out there. Yes, I said it. Even as much as I love Star Trek is realistic sci-fi. Star Wars is fantasy sci-fi. Doctor Who is just solid sci-fi. Yeah, it's bonkers. It's bonkers because it doesn't have to answer to anyone. It's a TARDIS, man. We're going places. Anyway, but
I appreciate that they actually gave Mantis more to do in this movie as well. Like I said, everybody got their little chance to shine. But like Mantis has really been like kind of in the other two movies. I kind of appreciated in this movie. She gets to tame the obelisk or whatever. That was pretty cool.
That was the best part to me, especially since, and this is again one of these items that like winds up as a bookend, where the obelisk is and it's literally a gaiju they have to fight, but no one ever asks, well, why are we fighting this thing? And it's really just a wild animal that's just coming through because it eats batteries. And these people have just made all these batteries, and it's like if you leave your lid off your garbage can, guess what? You're going to get bears, and
Bears or raccoons or both.
you can't be mad at the bears that you didn't cover your garbage cans properly. You know, and granted, as the Park Service says, there is a large overlap between the smartest bears and the dumbest humans, and that is our biggest problem here. But the thing
As a
is that
Floridian, can confirm. Well, former Floridian, but still,
you know,
can confirm.
that's the thing. It's like, and then once Mantis shows we all have powers, we all have strengths, and I am going to empathize with these creatures because they don't want to eat us. We're not made of battery. We probably would upset their tummies. They're just scared because they're afraid we're going to kill them like we did the last time.
And for those of you who didn't think that Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special was important, a lot of topics came up here. Mantis as Peter's sister, and all right, spoiler end credit scene when his grandfather's reading the newspaper. We do see the Kevin Bacon headlines.
Yes.
And what's funny about that is that that's like a totally realistic headline in this world. Like, oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, that's confirmed. It's like, yeah.
Mr. Kevin Bacon, all things are possible.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Yeah, you can get the aliens too.
Yes, there you go. I like they brought up Peter's grandfather in this.
Yeah, that's what
Because
people
the enemies of parents are children and the grandparents. They join together in full force. That's not the same person that raised me.
Well, I guess like people say, everyone's been asking it. It's like, he, the night his mother died, he like runs away, gets picked up by Yondu. It's like that grandfather's been sitting there for how many years? Like, what's happened to my grandson?
Yeah. And I like that he just had a lot of, not for nothing, I do wonder about the relationship between the lady that answers at the door and her grandfather. It could be his nurse. It could be his wife. We don't know. And not for nothing, we don't know what his grandfather did. We may find, and I because there was a whole conversation at the end there that I didn't get all the details on, where he was like, about someone doing yard work and a 45-year-old living in his father's, at home.
I think it was the neighbor.
What was going on with all that?
I think it was the neighbor. I don't know if they're asking him to help mow the lawn, and Peter's like, "Oh, fine, I'll do it." He's like, "But that guy over there, yeah, he's like 45 years old, living at home, able-bodied. He can do it himself." Yeah.
This soundtrack also was super different. It kind of threw me off.
There was some 90s, yeah, some like 90s stuff to like throw it off. Yeah.
We got the Zune, man. That's the whole point.
Yes, of course, Zune, the greatest device Microsoft ever made, but Apple killed it with their crappy little iPod. I don't know how iPod won over Zune. You didn't have to connect anything. I am still bitter about the Zune 20, 30 years later, bro.
Well, because the idea was, this crazy idea that Microsoft said, well, people are going to want to download it so they have it even when they don't have internet connection. They're going to want physical media, a copy they can carry with them. Why would they want to always be having to be relying on some sort of etheric connection?
Interface, yes!
That's stupid. But Apple said, no, people want to be tied to the umbilicus of the Apple. Please,
the ever ominous iPhone cord.
I'm just saying, man. Apple is the giving tree that never let go. That's Apple.
Yeah,
it's like, all the apples are here. Just climb up and have one.
Come in our walled garden. Yes, it's safe here. Yeah, I will always be bitter that Zune lost. It was such a great device, such a great idea. I don't know how. Well, I do. Microsoft's dumb, but they've made dumb choices for 30 years straight. So,
to be fair, they didn't do a lot of hard. They're a software company, and that was like
the Xbox clearly shows.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what we do is we figure out how to make these. We figure out how to make magic stones work. We don't want to build magic stones. That's a lot of capital.
The money's in the silicone, as Apple has learned. The money is in the silicone.
Well, actually, no. It's in the Mystic's runes you write on the silicone. That's the thing, man.
Hollywood doctors learned decades ago.
You know, you can build the machine, but the machine is useless without the software. Um,
Oh, hey Lilith, I'm surprised you didn't. I'm surprised you didn't bring up. I'm surprised your favorite person, well, favorite quote unquote character, character in this movie was Cosmo.
Oh, in the top five. Top five.
Good dog. Cosmo was a good dog.
Cosmo is a good dog. Do not say.
Oh, we got a Howard cameo at the end there.
I know. Again,
I'm not
another
sure
full
how I
circle
feel
moment.
about that.
I think
I'm
it was
not
just
sure.
to bring it full circle, though. Honestly,
No, and I get the idea. I just
that's a hint. Howard the Duck confirmed. We're doing it, baby.
he's on nowhere. That's the thing. That here's the thing.
You
You know
don't
what I
just
want?
rebuild nowhere for nothing. You know how duck penises work, right?
I want Howard to be. I want Howard to come down with Peter, and we find that out later. It's just like I'll go to Earth. What the heck? I just do you know anyone that can get me back to Duck World? Um, although I will. So this is one of these moments that like just sits in my head, and it's one of these how it should have ended moments. Have you ever watched How It Should Have Ended on YouTube? And the whole thing about the heart and the bomb on Rocket's heart is that the minute they meet the guy who is the Sorcerer Supreme in the Ravagers, like, hey, wow, you do all that kind of stuff. Do you know any heart surgeons? And it's like, well, yeah, I do know this one. And Dr. Strange comes in, does the magical thing, removes the bomb, and there we go. Rocket's back to normal. It just would be good. And I hope I didn't ruin their whole pitch there, but there we go. When they do that, you heard it here first.
But
you can cut that out if you need to, Phil.
No.
I mean, that's the problem that's the problem when you have a gimmick like that in your algorithm.
Well, that was the whole Iron Man problem. Iron Man 2, that things poisoned him in his chest, and at the end of Iron Man 3, we'll see. I'll just get surgery and get taken out.
Well,
convenient plot point is convenient.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, no. In Iron Man 3, the issue was about taking the shrapnel out, which was thought to be too dangerous to remove. But if you got a good enough surgeon,
they should have called Dr. Strange. They missed the opportunity.
To be fair, Dr. Strange was a neurosurgeon, not a heart surgeon.
To be fair, it can be everything.
You need a cardiovascular surgeon who believes
it's good enough for the brain. It's good enough for the heart, Charlie. We need those hands, those magic hands. You're welcome, Phil.
Not how surgery works, Lilith. But yeah, and the actual thing that was poisoning him was what he fixed when he created artificial vibranium. Because apparently in this universe you can just create elements, which is cool.
I mean, if you can create an Ultron and a Vision, I'm sure we can just make elements out of thin air. It's fine.
Well, to be fair, those were pre-crashed vibraniums. This was taking other elements and making them into vibranium with no waste, fortunately.
Alchemy is real in the MCU, confirmed.
Well,
if we can make a profit off of Thor: The Dark World, I'll believe anything.
To be fair, Diablo teaches us that alchemy is real. And since the Fantastic Four is coming, my big prediction, Diablo as our villain.
Oh, I want to keep it the mole man.
Mustache bros stick together. Mustache bros stick together.
But wouldn't that be a great role for Antonio Banderas?
No, I would
Antonio
love that.
Banderas, he's Diablo.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had work in a while. I'm sure he'll jump on that.
Yeah, well, they've been talking about him for Galactus and several other things. So, it's like, it would be great.
Well, actually, no, that's a lie, because Puss in Boots was like the best movie of last year. So I'm lying here.
Yeah, no, actually, the guy actually, he's cashing his paychecks.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, Puss in Boots was amazing. What am I talking about?
Yeah, keeping
that Shrek universe alive.
Just hasn't done live action for a while.
Well, who wants to do that? You can sit in your you can sit in your robe and just do your lines.
Animation's easy. Yeah, half these days probably do it
But
for home.
to be a great Spanish prince and his alchemical powers, and that's the whole trick about alchemy, is that it's like it works for a little bit and then it's good. It doesn't work forever, but you can trick the universe into letting you show all this amazing magical power for just enough time to be powerful. And that's why he's a perfect fight for the Fantastic Four, who are science-based.
Science-based. Oh, I do want to just give James Gunn also a little tip of the hat. I appreciate that even though everybody hates him for it, he still does use practical effects to very great use. That is so appreciated as an 80s baby and a 90s kid. Like it's just like sometimes it's like, why did they CGI that? It's about the same cost at this point.
I mean, everything I thought looked good in this movie, except I don't know. There's something about Groot's look this time that was throwing me. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's because he's so swole. They did swole maybe. Groot. And people have this has been theorized. He is swole Groot because this is a Groot exposed to celestial energy.
Swollen wood, Lily.
Because when he was a baby Groot, he was up inside a celestial.
I thought it was a nod to Vin Diesel, but whatever.
Well, that too,
They're like, we're gonna get Vin Diesel to play live action just to piss The Rock off.
Oh,
Groot's gonna turn into a human. Just mark my words, it's Vin Diesel.
No, although I did like. I will say. It's one of those weird things when he does what he does at the end, where he says, "I love you guys." I did love that. And honestly, this is where I would have been really happy to hear Groot start talking English so we could get that Doctor Doom level exposition villain that he once was. He's like, no, but now, as I speak your language, let me tell you of the complexities we shall now endure. I would love that. I'd love to hear Vin Diesel do that too, because as much as I'm down on Vin Diesel because him and Rock have a beef, and I'm totally Team Rock, I actually do respect Vin Diesel as an actor. So I want all the best for Vin Diesel, want all the best for The Rock. I just don't want people to fight all the time. Why you gotta fight?
But I am bummed. I don't want Seth Green to be the voice of Howard the Duck if they actually do a Howard the Duck movie. That's all that I'm gonna say. I have nothing against Seth Green. I don't. But I don't want him to be the voice of Howard the Duck if he actually does get like a movie.
It feels to me he's not finalized yet because they haven't given Howard a ton of dialogue in any of his quick appearances. So
I don't even. Yeah, exactly. They're testing the waters.
Here's what I'll say. About that. Seth Green in Buffy the Vampire Slayer is like probably 30 years ago right now. And I know no one wants to hear that. But I'm going to say that was a long time ago.
Babe, he's on Family Guy, which is in like its 20th year. That's my main problem with it.
Well, yeah, but that means that Seth Green is a guy who probably has obligations of a wife or a kid or at least a girlfriend who wants to get married. And tell me that's not Howard the Duck. So, like, as far as translating it to a thing, I think he could do it. I don't know of any bad stories of Seth Green right now, so I'm going to, if I'm going to give Ezra Miller a pass, I'm going to give him a pass. I'm not giving Ezra Miller a pass.
Why are we giving Ezra Miller a pass?
I'm not giving Ezra Miller a pass. I just want Ezra Miller to actually fucking. Sorry.
Whoa!
No.
Sorry.
Anger understood, but it's fine. It happens to the best.
Please note 29.16. But I want Ezra Miller to get help.
Yes.
And I'm more than willing to accept a person who gets help for their problems to move forward in their lives. But
it's not the Seth. No, I don't think there's a bad thing. Well, he's a little esoteric and like people don't get his comedy sometimes in person, like he's a real dry person. But outside of that, no, I don't have a problem with him. That's just not who I want from my Howard the Duck, personally.
How about no?
I mean, well, right there, Michael Myers would be a
Just
great
to be
Howard
clear,
Duck.
because usually when I have a problem with a person, it's because there's something going on that'll come out pretty shortly. No, stuff's fine. I just not my Howard the Duck.
Yeah, and again, I haven't heard enough of his Howard the Duck to be able to assess how he understands the character. So I'm willing to give him a shot because I think he can do a quacky voice. It's sort of like if it's like that. If Mel Blanc rose from the dead and wanted to do Howard the Duck, I'd give him a shot. And I'm not going to say that Mel Blanc's going to know how to do Howard the Duck, but I'm going to wager he'll do a decent enough Howard the Duck that we can do an assessment of whether or not he understands the character.
And why are we wasting? That was Nathan Fillion, right? Is that one guard? Why are we wasting him as a guard? Shouldn't we be offering Nathan Fillion like a bigger role in the MCU?
I think.
I mean, who is Nathan Fillion in 2023? Castle's been long gone.
Yeah, man.
You know
and
what
Firefly talking about something that's been 30 years ago. Okay.
I do think that this is one of those moments where things got political. I think that Sean Gunn wanted to push Nathan Fillion into a role, specifically Wonder Man, that Marvel said, we haven't even decided what we're doing with Wonder Man yet. So we're going to just slow this role a bit. And then he decided to put Nathan Fillion into this role with a mask off to sort of say, here's Nathan Fillion. See, I love this guy. And I think that people at Marvel are like, yeah, we like Nathan Fillion too. He's great. I don't know what we want to do with him yet.
Well, it's too late for Wonder Man.
Yeah.
Well,
but this was all in the works way before that too. So like he also wanted the guy that was in who was it, Camille Nananji or whatever from Eternals? Like he was gonna put him in, and then he got cast in Eternals. So it's been like a whole thing. Because he was on hiatus for so long that so many things had changed that he did have to turn in a whole new script and stuff. So
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, it's not like it's the end of Nathan Fillion, as I think we've pointed out. I think as has been pointed out, Michelle Yeoh, current Oscar winner, and true guardianess of the multiverse, is already in 2 different roles in Marvel. And could be up for a 3rd if we want her. That's the thing. It's like Marvel is not above recasting people in the same thing, just like Doctor Who, because sometimes it rhymes. So we will let another character come back. We'll change your hair, because that's how comic books work. And you can be a completely different character now, and no one will say you look like, except for the people who say, well, if we just change your hair, you'd look exactly like them. Which is exactly what happens in comics.
You want to know another way Sylvester Stallone is a Ravager? Like, really? Okay.
I like Sylvester in that.
It was kind of a waste. It was like a throwaway character. You know what I mean?
To be fair, Sylvester Stallone is a very, very advanced gentleman. And while he could carry an entire movie by himself if he so wanted, I don't think he really wants to do that. He wants to come in, have a few great scenes.
Tell him what he said to tell that to when he was yelling at Michael B. Jordan. Oh, he wants to.
Wow.
It's in the studio's insurance gonna let him. That's the question.
I don't know. I am not willing to. I'm not going to say Sylvester Stallone is so decoupled from reality that he feels he needs to be an action hero again. Although, to be fair, freaking Harrison Ford is still saying no one will ever be.
Wait, doesn't he have a whole show on Paramount Plus now that I think about it?
Oh yeah. Then was he the aging gangster or whatever? Yeah.
Well, but that's a different role.
Yeah.
That's an old guy gangster being just scary and villainous.
Well,
that's what this.
Well, the whole premise of those Ravagers is kind of weird too, because like him and a few of the other ones, they're like the in the comics. Those were the Guardians of the 30th, 30th or 31st century, whatever. And I'm just like, okay, we're doing.
Way to rip off DC, but that's not my business.
Oh,
To be fair, the future isn't written yet, so who knows where any of these people's descendants wind up.
oh, maybe.
Yeah, I enjoyed Adam Warlock.
We
I'm
just get
so
a
happy for
fancy
Will
yonder.
Poulter. So
Yeah, I usually hate Adam Warlock, but I mean, he was all right here. Comic relief and just the character is a lot different than in the comics. So
Well, exactly, because this one isn't powered by a soul stone, which is good, because we rightly did away with those things. That MacGuffin has been used. We don't need them again.
they still put a dot on his head.
Because that's where the third eye is, and if you need to shoot a laser beam, that's very useful. No, I like
magnify
that he
your
is.
power. Yeah.
I like that he is a
Thickhead.
pre-made Superman who is also a little bit naive. He's kind of a Bizarro super. He's basically Marvel's Bizarro right now. He's the MCU's Bizarro. He's learning, but here's the thing: he can learn. And the only
It's
thing I
giving
was
very much the born hot right now trope. You know.
you know what? Honestly, I wonder if this was a thing that James Gunn debated. Did they want him mad that the High Evolutionary killed his mother? Yeah, because that's that. You have to save Martha. That I didn't want a Martha moment in here. He killed my mother. I must
Never go
avenge
full
her.
Martha. Never go full Martha.
Exactly, and it's this moment here where he doesn't. He's still trying to do
Never go full sniper.
what his job was, but then when he gets shown mercy, he's like, "Oh, Arena Patties? Am I on the wrong side in this? Do I gotta now help these people?"
Well, I don't even think it was that. I mean, at first it was just like they were like, "Oh, well, we have to find these. We have to find the raccoon first. So get back in good graces with the High Evolutionary."
Yeah, but when the High Evolutionary is dead, then obviously that's not as nearly as important. Which makes me wonder, what were those people called? The Sovereign or the
Yeah. Sovereign,
yeah. I mean, but now the Sovereign is dead. Who's in charge? Is Adam Warlock in charge now?
Oh, God help him if he
Except
is.
he's in the Guardians of the Galaxy, so I think things are going to
They're
get
gonna have
chaotic.
to learn how to be a democracy.
Yeah.
Charlie.
First election or
Oh,
something.
God,
Or,
help
yeah,
us.
who knows?
We've all been bred to be a certain thing, but now we have to think for ourselves. That's not something. That's the one nut Herbert couldn't crack. If only his name had been Filbert, then he could have cracked it. But
Funny. I understood that reference.
I love the puns. Ah,
We'll be here all week.
That's a terrible name for a company, though. It's like clearly ominous and fake.
which one?
The Orgo Corp or whatever.
Oh.
I'm just like,
I don't know. I mean, I guess.
Don't be judging these intergalactic companies by your human standards of hellfire.
First off, they're clearly a meat-based company.
Literally.
So meat-based
Yes.
species tend to be very glottal in their communications.
I need some
So-
muscle and some meat.
Like humans do. No, humans just go and that's very normal in a lot of bioengineered species. That was what the whole thing was with the kids. Which
Chip chip.
Jib Jib, and which Drax, of course, immediately learned because he's like cool with kids and can learn languages. Which
I don't care. I don't care that he's stupid.
Well,
And good for Michael Rosenbaum, by the way, guys.
Did he get a line in this movie?
He did get a lot, but he got some Marvel cash.
I
That's all I'm saying.
I saw his name in the credit. I'm like, did he say a word in this movie?
Who?
Michael
He was
Rosenbaum.
Martin X.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like
He's
the
Martin X,
sparkly,
yeah.
The
he's like the
main
sparkly
Ravager.
diamond guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the guy. He's got the crystals on him.
He's like, as long
I
as I don't
don't
have to
know.
shave my head, I will show up.
You know what? Hey, I'm glad he got the paycheck. I'm glad he did the work. I would love to see more with him. I love Michael Rosenbaum. He's an amazing actor. You know, but as with all things with actors, it's like you need a good script, and the writers are on strike now. So all the actors are
Yeah.
like, "Ugh,
No
what
more
to do?"
Mr. Dr. Horrible sing along, please. Let's just leave that alone. But I do want to say, like, it was funny. The drug dealing octopus. It's just like
Ah,
that's funny.
I mean, it's sort of funny. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
was it a perfect society? No.
Exactly. That's
Well, well, I mean, it's a society, man. What do you want from society? What my biggest thing was? Well, first off, I do wonder about some racism there because it seemed like the mammals are all in the suburbs, and then the crustaceans and cephalopods were off in the
of
inner
course.
city.
Haven't you seen what's that Disney movie? The one with the fox and the rabbit. That's what it was giving.
Oh, yeah,
Judy
that was
Hopps. I can't think of the
Zootopia.
name of the movie.
Zootopia.
Yeah, it was giving Zootopia. I'm like, I see you.
Well, I mean, that was all mammals, and there was a lot of intermammal hatred. There were. I don't really know if
Mammals
there were.
clearly think we're the highest form of life, so you
Well,
know how it
exactly,
is.
but look who's selling us that.
Oh,
Other mammals.
Exactly, it's mammal propaganda clearly,
It was like when the brain says, "I'm the most important organ in the body." It's like, yeah,
and the heart's like, ahem, and then the intestines are like, ahem, and
yeah,
the liver's like,
exactly.
no, screw you, Og. At least that's the most
Be
important
dead
organ
in a
in
week
my
without
body.
me. But moving right along. No, it's one thing that bothered me in this, and I will say this, is when we get to the warrior cyborg, which also are clearly things that are based off of all of the flawed structures that they kept. It's like the cybernetic new men, but then they also have the new men, so you have like the
Newman.
gorilla puss and the barrapede and God knows what else.
Warhog or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
War
yeah, and the
pig.
warhog,
War pig. Yeah.
war pig. Yeah, it's just like, what are you even doing here, dude? If you need a war pig, you don't have a utopia.
Just in
Maybe
case, Charlie. Just in case, everybody could
no.
use a little angry bacon. That's all I'm saying.
What I'm gonna
Hey-o.
say, no, because what I'm gonna say is this is a man who doesn't want to do the work, and this is the real point of it. It's like when everyone says. So here's the thing. So when you're dealing with a zealot, and another meme, it's you have Falcon come in, Captain America, say you need to do better. You're going to kill half the universe to make the world a better place. You need to do better. And now
All
within
right,
that
kill
structure,
everyone. You got it.
well, no, well, I mean, that's another aspect. But this is the thing. You can say, well, listen, there's a limitation in how much the Infinity Stones can do because we're in a constrained universe. There's only so much matter, energy, etc. Like, yes, but if you want to end suffering and you have all this power, how can you best do that efficiently? How can you structure the universe in a way that there's enough for all and enough care for all? But that is a lot of work. And if you're a supervillain, I would rather just kill half the people and let them sort it out, even though there's no guarantee any of them are going to be able to sort it out. But at least I'll say I did my part. Whereas actually doing the work of saying, okay, how do we reallocate resources in such a way that we get grain to those who need grain and water to those who need water and just education to all who need education and build a better universe? That's hard
Yeah,
work.
nobody wants to do that.
Well, exactly. But if you're going to be a supervillain saying you're making a utopia, You got to understand that's a very bureaucratic
That's how you know it's a
process.
cult. Anybody that's offering you a perfect utopian world, it's a cult, bro. Sorry.
Exactly.
Sorry to break it to you. Them's the
And
rules.
I
I don't make
agree
them.
100%. And that's the problem. That's what makes him a villain, Thanos a villain. They don't want to do the hard work. They want a utopia. They
You
have
can
the
say
power
let's
to do.
start a commune, sure, but when you start talking utopia, because commune implies work. We're gonna raise houses. We're gonna do our own water filtration. Okay, but the minute you start talking about other stuff, it's like
And that's the thing. But that's the thing. It's like if you had the power to do it, if you had the power to build a house without making everybody build their own house, it's like the Superman conundrum. Superman
I
could
could take
get a
everybody's
all
trash out.
Yeah, Superman could take everybody's trash out. Superman could do all these things. Superman could make everybody's life so much easier. But that's a lot of work on Superman.
And that's how
And
we
he
end up
doesn't
in a Wally world, man.
well, and it's fine so long as Superman doesn't say, I don't want to make the world I don't want to perfect the world. You people do the work. I'll do my work, you people do your work.
Like when the
I'll keep
aliens
New
that
Year's from
realize that I'm
crashing.
alive come and destroy the Earth. I'm gonna defend Earth because they're looking for me, but everything else you're on your own.
Oh wait,
Exactly.
so the problem is Superman doesn't want to do the work. Oh, so we're in the Zack Snyder verse. Okay.
I
Well,
mean, until James
no
Gunn
Superman
comes out
wants
with
to
the
do the work.
movie,
And to be fair, no hero should want to do the work of fixing everything because people need their own free will.
because that's how they
People
turn
need
into the
their own
villain. But
ability to make their own decisions. And if the world blows itself up and you're Superman, and you think, well, I guess the world blew itself up, you're sad, but then you're Superman, so you fly off, just like Thor did when the world blew itself up eventually. And he got very sad, and then he makes it rain, and he realizes, oh, okay, now the world will maybe regrow because it's been long enough after all the nuclear wars that the world can regrow. And that's the thing, but it's not a individual being's job to make a utopia. Any
exactly,
individual being who wants to make a utopia needs to do the work. They need to be working to establish what it is that makes a utopia. And invariably their own hubris and other things get in the way. So what are you gonna do, Phil? What are you gonna do, Lilith?
hey, how do we feel about Quill being alive at the end of all of this?
I'm okay with it. I would have been happier if his face didn't puff up like a jelly bean in that. I mean, I don't
I
know how you come back from that, except we do
uh,
see
maybe because he's
med
ego
packs
son.
do amazing things, but they didn't put a med pack on him. That's the thing. It's like if they'd put a med pack on him, I can say, okay, yeah, everything's fixed with med packs. That's fine.
Is it just because he's ego's son? That's the only reason he didn't pop.
I mean, it's entirely possible he still has enough celestial
Because
oomph in him.
wasn't that the excuse why he could hold the power stone for like a couple seconds and live because he was ego's son?
Yeah, but I mean, officially, canonically, they said he burned out all of his ego power fighting ego. But
But it's
yeah,
genetic
there's always a
control
little something left there.
Yeah, it's like, babes, it's in his DNA.
There's always a little bit of gas in the tank, Might not build itself up enough to where you want it to be, but there's always a little gas left in the tank.
That
I
was my
figured
biggest
maybe-
disappointment, honestly. But everything
I
else,
figured someone might die, but I guess are they trying to leave the door open for everybody? Maybe even if they don't do
Yeah.
part of these movies for all these characters to appear somewhere else. Because are we going to get like a legendary Star-Lord like Disney Plus series? Because they're like the legendary Star-Lord will return. I was like, oh.
Yeah, well, I mean, not for nothing. He's obviously got a spaceship, rocket boots, element guns. He's got all this stuff.
He's on Earth. He could appear on anyone else's show who's on Earth.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to see that. I mean, and that's the thing. I would love to see more superheroes in the Midwest. I would love to see the Great Lakes Avengers with the legendary Star-Lord and Flatman and Squirrel Girl. That is a show that writes itself.
well, they tried that already, and they had to retool it. So,
Well, yeah, but if they retool things all the time. There was a Justice League TV show with like Green
Oh,
Lantern.
we know, and one day we will review that on the Patreon if I can talk Phil into it.
Oh, I'll do it.
I mean,
it's sad. It's
if it's
absolutely
available,
sad.
I will.
I've seen
Well,
the stills.
It's not available, but I have it.
Oh, yeah, well, if it's available, I mean, I'm more than happy. Look, and I'm the softest touch when it comes to reviews. I will review that. I will tell you why it is the greatest film ever made. Why were they wasting money on Zack Snyder when this gem existed? But that's the thing. I would love to see a Peter Quill, Star-Lord, Great Lakes Avengers. Well, except Missouri is a little far from the Great Lakes. I guess it could be the Mississippi Avengers. That might be a Great Divide Avengers.
The Mason-Dixon Avengers.
No, that's a different divide. The Great Divide is a different divide than
now somebody goes, yeah, that's what we want to see. Cue the banjos.
We do not need. I'm just gonna say I think the UFOs
Feel like a pig, Modoc.
Anyway. Oh, I'd love to see the UFOs, but anyway. Always love to see the UFOs. But you can't see the UFOs until we see the Fantastic Four.
Dang
Oh,
straight.
the conundrum. But all that said, no, I'd love to see Peter Quill say, yeah, I'm an Avenger. I fought in the Infinity War. What are you talking about? Just and I would love to see him just self-appoint himself.
Like, wait, y'all had Hawkeye in here? You're giving me grief?
Oh no! Are they gonna make him the Guy Gardner?
Yes.
Oh,
Perfect.
I would absolutely love to see the next time we see Star-Lord is just this world needs Avengers. Guess I need to do some avenging.
Fine, I'll do it myself.
They're gonna make him like the Guy Gardner. Like Moon Knight's gonna punch him out, knock him out with one punch.
Well, not
no, I don't think so, man. Because this guy's fought a lot of things, and it does have a little celestial in the tank. Don't forget that.
I could do this all day. I'm too dumb to fall down.
Dang Skippy, that is the most great power. With great stupidity comes great responsibility.
He was knocked unconscious 20 minutes ago. He just don't know it yet.
Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, I like the whole Rocket story. We got Rocket's whole origin.
I like that framework for sure. I
That
think
was
this
good.
is like
That
one of my
was very
favorite Marvel movies. Modern Marvel movies, anyway.
I liked Phyla Bell at the very end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know that until I watched someone else break it down. It's like, oh, that's because they call her Phyla.
Yeah. I saw glowy hands, but I couldn't tell if that was like internal power, nega bands, quantum bands. I couldn't tell.
There's so many dang things it could be now.
Yeah. And again, this is one of those moments that make you realize, wow, the evolutionary is really dumb. Because he kept on going, they could rebuild a doobity-doobity-doo in under 2 minutes.
Sure.
And it's like, well, yeah, that'd be impressive if we knew what a doobity-doobity-doo was. And more to the point, why is that impressive? Is that and especially because he's mad about rote learning at that time. It's like, it just, at every level, the high evolutionary seems like a guy who kind of peaked in his evolution and then got very mad when he found out that he was not the pinnacle. It's like, he doesn't that's the sad part about it. He doesn't have all that Moff Gideon hubris to just make all the clones of himself and make that a society. No, he's just like, no, I must make perfect beings. But how can something I create be smarter than me? No! He's an idiot, basically.
Well, I mean, and you were right. I mean, we're calling Adam Warlock a child. That's right. But I'm like, High Evolutionary is kind of a child, too. Well, childlike. He builds something up. You don't like it. He knocks it down, starts over, and, just throws tantrums every time.
Well, exactly. And he
That's
doesn't
all
try to
villains
fix it.
do, you know.
Doesn't want to do the work. He doesn't want to fix
And I would have
it.
got away with it too if it wasn't for that melon raccoon.
By the way, I love this is to me the best part of the movie when Rocket says, "My name is Rocket Raccoon."
Raccoon.
He embraces who he is. He's been denying he's a raccoon for years until he meets raccoons. And
Yeah,
then he saves the raccoons and then says, "This is my people. This is who I am. Do not tell me I am not who I am."
so from the information on that door when he opens the cage, that like towards the end, so is Rocket. So Rocket's from Earth, also, correct?
Arguably, yeah.
One would
He is
assume,
from,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and the High Evolutionary says he visited Earth. He loves Earth. Earth's awesome.
We've got some of the
Oh,
craziest animals in the whole universe, I bet.
booga booga.
Have you met a hippo? Have you met a rhinoceros?
Oh, I was talking about humans, but yeah. Oh, those are cool too.
I was gonna say, have you met our reality stars?
Yeah, humans are crazy, but yeah, our rhinos. I mean, rhinos and hippos, they're cool. But they sort of stick to their own meta. So humans are like, yeah,
Definitely.
let's go see if we can fall off a mountain or die trying, and we do.
Every
Both
other
of them.
species on this planet is smart enough to mind their own business, not humans.
Exactly. Exactly. I envy them.
It's that curiosity.
Killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. Never forget
There
the
you
second
go.
part. So yeah, I mean, you want to wrap it up, Phil, and give it some grades, or you got more thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, let's give this thing some grades.
So I did have a hot take that I mentioned previously while you were having technical difficulties.
Huh.
I said this is the best Marvel trilogy.
Oh,
Trilogy.
oh, okay.
It's like between this and Ant-Man, so you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Because most others went to 4.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, Captain America's gonna get 4, kind of.
Did
I
we
don't
get
even
4? No, we only
count
got
Captain
3.
America because he never had his own
Well,
movie,
the
really.
next one's gonna be 4. New Captain America. Well, it was
I mean,
gonna
that
be
is
New
true,
World
yeah.
Order, but they're switching the title. That's gonna be 4. Iron Man had 3.
Nope.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3. All right.
But we'll see. This is better than Iron Man 3. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, like if you really want to compare it to like whose third movies concluded the best,
Okay, yeah.
you've got basically Thor,
This probably
Captain America, which didn't really conclude, but
That
was a really good film.
Yeah, it's basically Avengers 2.5.
Yeah. Exactly. And then you have so you had Quantumania. You also technically have
the Avengers trilogy.
Well, you have the third Avengers, which is not Endgame,
Infinity War was 3, yeah.
Which is a good film. But as a self-contained that's the thing. This is a self-contained trilogy. Yeah. This is the Steve Gunn arc. This is his farewell. And in that way, it kind of gets an advantage. Because Steve Gunn was not planning on coming back.
James?
Who's Steve?
Oh, James Gunn. Whatever. I don't know. Some guy named Gunn. I don't know. He's over at DC now. What do I care?
Exactly.
The Gunn guy. I don't know people's names, Phil.
We know. We love to give you a hard time.
I would love to get an interview with James Gunn, and I'm Charlie Singer. Hey, so Steve, what do you got for us?
and then James just goes, "How'd you know my real name?" Steve Gunn didn't have a good ring to it.
We're not gonna sit here and kiss your ass.
Anyway, I apologize, Mr. Gunn. I screwed up your name because I don't know. I don't know where I am half the time.
That's our old Uncle Charlie.
I'm old. I'm 49, so.
Oh, that's not old.
Oh, it's pretty old. I'm no longer middle-aged, unless I live to be 90.
You're middle-aged because you're gonna live to be 100. You're fine.
Okay. When I was in second grade, I did my life story. I only lived to 99, so I could make it. This could still be the middle, but
Might digitize his consciousness. You never know.
That's
I
more a
would never
Mozzie
do that.
thing, but
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's the problem with digitizing your consciousness is there's going to be an algorithm that's going to have updates, and eventually it's going to make you into a much nicer person than you were. And I don't know if I did.
if AI that's been trained on the internet tells me anything, it's gonna be the opposite.
Well, no, because it's going to be updating you to interface with other people. That's the
Ah,
thing. Like it's only if it's interfacing with itself that it goes to the dark places.
who?
But like if it has to deal with actual human beings, it's going to be like, "Hey, how are ya? Nice to meet ya."
Sally, did you update Grandpa this week? Oh no.
Yeah,
So
well,
yeah,
death is a feature, not a bug.
thank you.
Just um
That's
uh,
definitely what Marvel says.
yeah. Well, no, it's just the reality. I'm trying to remember the guy who does Back in Black on the Daily Show. I forget his first name. I don't want to
Oh,
get into
Larry
that trouble
Wilmore.
again.
Oh, Larry
I'm
Wilmore.
sorry.
Is it Larry
No, no,
Larry
no,
Wilmore?
no. Because I'm thinking Michael Ian Black and Jack Black, and I know both of
Oh,
those are the wrong
Lewis Black.
Blacks. What?
Is it Lewis Black?
Lewis Black. Thank you. That's one of his bits. Is he says, "Death is a feature, not a bug."
Oh, you can't
That
remember
people,
Louis Black.
Lewis Black. Yeah, I don't. It's a lot of people. First, I mean, I have three people with all the same last name as Black. What do you want from me?
There's Jack Black. Yeah, exactly. Give him a break.
I don't want to pay attention if I'm not. I know it's not Michael Ian Black, who I do love, but he is British, and we'll say if you don't know why I talk like this, because this is what the English sounds like when it's spoken properly. Um, my favorite joke from him, but Lewis Black's, death is a feature, not a bug. That's one of my favorite jokes from him, and it is true. You're meant to shuffle off this mortal coil, find out where you go next, or just rest, just enjoy it. Enjoy no pain and no worry, and have dreamless sleep forever. That might not be so bad. I had awful dreams this morning.
Well, that got dark quick. I'm gonna give it a gentleman's B minus.
Oh, Lilith gives an MCU.
Listen, when you don't connect to the whole MCU, where I feel like I have to watch every freaking thing, and
nice.
That's the way to get me.
You did.
Don't be
You
connected
should
to
have
anything.
watched the Christmas special though.
I don't trust Christmas specials.
Got Kevin
Star Wars
Bacon.
scarred me. Sorry.
Okay, no, and that's fine. I actually thought B minus is like after all of this, I thought it would at least get a B or an A since it's the best.
It's still
trilogy.
Marvel, Charlie.
Yeah, but this is a
if,
little.
If Peter, listen, if Quill would have died, I would have gave it an A plus. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing because I was actually thinking, oh my gosh, they kill Peter. That's gonna be amazing. That's gonna be like a whole thing.
It would have been the cathartic release we needed, but no, they blue balled us.
Then he got killed for that Zune.
And then like I said, to me, like the problem with that scene is that he had his face puff out. That to me was like
he ate that extra cheeseburger, Charlie.
But the thing is, like, they didn't even do that to poor Yandu. It's like, and then just like, I'm gonna die now. It's like, no. Literally, we can get you back to the thing because we have jetpacks and such, and we have these med packs we can just stick on you. They fixed everything apparently, including broken bones and expired milk. So let's just get you back in there. So that's a nice little how it should have ended for that. It's just like, what, you guys had so they could just fix me?
Oh yeah, like those med packs can after Adam Warlock crushes you, can fix anything.
Yeah, well,
Fetish.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this an A minus. No, I'll give it an A. What the hell? Hey, guns. It's a senior A. He's moving on to his next adventure. Not going to bring down his GPA just to have a complaint. He may be back next year for some, grad work or have to do custodial studies, but we will take it as it goes. And right now, yeah, I'll say it's an A. It's an A work. It's a solid film. It drags in points because he wants to get every character their moment, but I like that, so I'm not going to knock him off for that.
I don't know. I'd probably give it a straight up B. I mean, I enjoyed this movie. The rocket stuff was good.
All the animal themes, yay! Because I'm simple. Animals good.
And yet you give it a B minus. So
and Adam Warlock really didn't piss me off. So yeah, I'll give it a B. I mean, they could have trimmed. I don't know. He could have trimmed what, like 15 minutes off this movie. But I mean,
but then everyone doesn't
it
get
didn't
their
bother
moment.
me. Yeah, I guess.
You gave everyone. I mean, that's the thing. It's like Cosmo got a moment, Kraglin got a moment, and in most films, none of those people get a moment. But he gave him a moment, and that's good. To me,
you got Kraglin a moment. Oh, what a surprise! He gave his brother a moment. Oh, okay.
Don't be mean, because his brother's also
okay. Yeah, no, I like his brother.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's like,
He ain't heavy, he's
I'm
my
not going to give the
brother.
nepo baby stuff to it, but he gave his brother time on screen, which is nice, and and I'm not going to get into that whole argument, but I'm just going to say, it worked. It told the story. He didn't over glamorize it, and that's a thing. But it does drag at times because if you don't care about Craglin's story, if you don't care about Cosmo's story, people will get upset that you actually told us a story we didn't want to hear. That's why I predict this is going to get an actually very bad Rotten Tomatoes score.
Can't believe
You
we
think
put.
so? I don't think so.
I can't believe we put Michael Rooker in the makeup for a 5-second scene.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Obi-Wan scene. So I do it once. It's like, yeah, I'll do it. You gonna pay me how much? Yeah, okay, I'll do it. I mean, honestly, we don't even know if they did, and they didn't just paint him into it, because it was literally just him like standing,
The
So
Rotten Tomato score, like from the critics, is sitting at an 81. The audience score is sitting at 95 right now.
okay,
That's not bad.
oh,
Like
there
I
we go.
said, like I think people, like Phil was saying, we were having a conversation on one of our other podcasts. Like, people feel the need, like, I haven't seen it. I'm like 3 movies behind. But when they get word of mouth, like, you really don't need to see the other ones. I think it'll probably even pick up a little bit more speed next weekend. So.
Well, right now it's sitting at 114 domestic and 282 worldwide. So.
Well, I mean, it's a different world now. You know what I mean?
Well,
those numbers in that reality needs to be adjusted.
yeah, but I think they said they predicted lower, so it's doing better than they predicted.
It's doing way better than Ant-Man, but
Well, yeah, I think it's definitely the best MCU or hell, I think the best superhero.
Post-pandemic MCU, yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a good end for a point in the MCU. Now it's up to a lot of
Maybe
other
Avengers.
MCU stuff to step up to it, And I do think that Secret Invasion might do that. I think once they start moving forward with Secret Invasion and the Marvels, they're going to get their feet back under themselves.
Sam Jackson.
Yeah, he can't save.
You can't go wrong with Sam Jackson.
No, because he's in both.
So on that note, Phil.
On that note, yes. All right, kids. So yes, join us next time. I don't know if we'll have anything between here and next month, but I know the next movie review we'll do here is probably the highly controversial Flash movie. So
Buckle in, kids. Buckle in.
that's right. So yes.
It looks good. It had a trailer among
you can
30
make a trailer
minutes
look
of
good.
trailers
I mean, look at
before this
Suicide Squad.
film.
Oh, I don't think out of the many trailers I saw yesterday, I don't think that's the first. I think that's the first time I haven't seen that lately. That Flash trailer.
It's not a Marvel movie, so why would it be in your trailers?
I've seen it before Marvel movies before.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I think Ant-Man before Ant-Man. I think it was. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was in my theater, and yeah, I mean it looks good. But,
No, this time I think I just got like Indiana Jones and Mission Impossible and
Talk about aging actors who just won't give up a role. Well, they, to be fair, they literally backed up the money truck to Harrison Ford. He's like, oh, fine. Christopher Flockhart needs some new purses. Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be fair,
You got to
I
make up
think
for Crystal Skull Kingdom, so you know.
wow, I don't know if this is going to be better. I'm really worried about
Can't be
Dial
worse,
of
can it?
Destiny. Oh, easily.
Oh,
This one theoretically involves time travel shenanigans, and that never ends well.
Why did it have to be time travel?
I mean, no, I don't know what it is. It's a dial of destiny. Maybe it predicts the future, and you can like make your fascism not be bad in the future. I don't know, but as it's presented, it kind of seems like yeah, time travel shenanigans, and that's going to end poorly. Because how does time travel shenanigans ever end well? Even in the Back to the Future universe, where something's got to be done about your kids, Marty. You know, it's the thing. You do that time travel stuff. It always eats its own tail.
Spoils. I agree.
all right. So yes, kids. So yeah, send your thoughts on this movie, The Flash, all of it. All your pop culture. Email us, capesandlunatics at gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find all things Capes and Lunatics, episodes, social media, merchandise, Patreon, all of it at tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. All right. Lilith Hellfire. Can anyone find you on social media anymore?
If you want to be my friend, feel free to send a friend request on Facebook. I am I check in like once or twice a month, so you know, just give me time.
All right. Charlie Esser.
Well, I mean, I am on the Facebook. I can always be reached via just freaking email. Write to me. Tell me your thoughts. Am I an idiot? I would love to know. I love being told that I'm an idiot, and that way I don't have to pay someone
Fetish.
for it. At superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, follow me and when I go there on Twitter at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing.
Thank you, Maz.
All righty, kids. Thank you.
I don't get hard enough anymore.
All right. Thank you for joining us, kids. Come back again. If not before, we'll be here for The Flash. So for another week, we have been your Capes.
Ampersand.
Lunatics.
Oh, look at that. No one's missing a beat. Yeah. There is no God. That's why I had to step in. The Rob Southgate story.
See, but that's that point. It's that assumption that just because things aren't perfect that there is no God. It's the assumption that God is.
What did Bender say? He's like, because when it was like, it's like when things work out, it's like I forget that quote from Futurama. He's
Well,
like,
yeah.
he told me that he basically ain't gonna do dip squat, so we gotta do it ourselves.
Well, or to me, yeah, because he said I met God, and God said He's not going to do anything. Because when he met God, God said, "Yes, you were great as God," until it all went horribly wrong.
Good night,
Oh.
Eagles.
Yes.